Well, chat, 2020 is the year that just keeps on punching. But it's pretty important to remember that like 2021 is going to happen on January 1st and things aren't going to magically change. Everything that's happening in 2020 is a culmination of lots of years of crap. And it's not just going to be as simple as casting a ballot in November and being done. Ruth Bader Ginsburg died today. They was being confirmed by a bunch of news sources as of like 15 minutes ago, and I am fairly certain that Mitch McConnell no longer holds his opinion that justice seats should not be filled during an election year. So, yeah, it's November was already gonna probably likely be pretty bad, and it's not. It's gonna get worse. Yep. Yep. Alright. Let's play some clerics, huh? We can bring people back from the dead in this game. We've got Orah, Skyclave, Hierophant. 3/3 lifelink for 4. When it or another cleric you control dies, you get to return target cleric from your graveyard to the battlefield with a lesser converted mana cost. We got the Hope's Demise. What an aptly named card for the evening and year. Whenever a non-token creature you control dies, throw a counter on it. If it's a cleric, you get to draw a card and lose life. We've got Heliod, the Sun-Crowned tier. That fits well with our lots of sources of life gain, Daxos, and Lurrus, and this. Enable its devotion well. We got some cheap life linkers. I think my one thought on this deck that may or may not be something we end up changing is we don't really have any interaction in the main deck. In fact, I think I'm gonna be a little greedy and change it before we start. I'm gonna put two of the murder land in here, just for like a touch of Hagra Mauling here. Just a scotch of interaction and extra consistency. We've got 19 land souls, gives us 20, 25. That seems pretty good. It could be right to even get up to more of these, but I'm gonna start with 2. Vestructor, thank you very much for the tier 1 subscription. I appreciate that. There's one before I went live too. The Kemper with the brand new Prime support. I appreciate that. Jump on into some games, shall we? Did I queue in Historic? Did I just queue Historic? Did it finally get me? Did automatically clicking on that button all the time finally get me? Because I'm out of it. We'll find out. Probably. I believe you. Definitely cute Historic. Got it. Hey, Pop. Thanks for the 3rd of a year. I appreciate that. Welcome back. Yeah, I'll just concede the match. Still haven't returned that cog to the here to be able to concede. I agree, Hammer. No, like, anybody that thinks any amount of precedent matters hasn't been paying attention to the last 3.5 years. It's like the theme of the last 3.5 years. No precedent matters. I'm actually gonna bottom Mauling here. We can go 1, 2, 3 on curve here nicely. Nah, I'm gonna be okay. Distractions are good. Atheros, the name of the black and white god. So over under McConnell having a candidate for their position tomorrow morning. I mean, Trump already offered up too, right? Tom Cotton and Senator Cruz. There'll be a Legends of Runeterra stream later on. Not today. I'll be going back to daily Runeterra content on Sunday. So I think at this point I have my schedule for next week all fleshed out. If you check that out here. I think that's pretty close to where I'm gonna end up at for next week. Legends of Zemgungus. Thank you for keeping on with that tier 1 sub. I appreciate it. Welcome back. So this thing's gonna get to start making angels here, so that's nice. Hey, Vistructor. Excited to have you. Hey, was that a good draw, chat? Remember when I elected to put some Doomblades in my deck? Doomblade is busted, chat. Cracked in half. Dire Tactics. That technically does not hit the snake. It's like green, white, snake, primal surge. In fact, they're playing primal surge would imply that they have a lot of creatures and stuff. No, nothing's banned tomorrow. I do not ever intend to ban things in standard. J Rock, thanks for the 1.5 years. I appreciate that. Welcome back. Do I want some dire tactics in here? I feel like I do at least a couple dire tactics as a treat. Life's Bounty probably isn't that good. Other than Primal Might, they probably don't have that much removal. Let's try this. Let's become more interactive here, especially on the draw. Seeing super slow, but to keep on 6. What's standard like so far? Just a lot of what you'd expect. Just a lot of people trying a lot of different things. Anybody tell you they don't? Omnath Uro seems good. Omnath super constructed playable. Uro's still a good card. A lot of the games that don't involve Uro feel interesting and competitive. The games that involve Uro, not so much.
I trust in your ability.
Are we Skyclave Apparitioning Basari Kit here? What's his ult do? You get an emblem with get away and put him on counter retreat control. Yeah, that one's gotta go. Great, creature you control with one card, target a spell and opponent controls get a 1/1 insect token. Sure. This set is incredibly wildcard intensive. This is probably the most expensive arena set to date. Hey, J-Man, thanks for the tier 2. I appreciate that. Welcome back. Thanks for keeping me around. Am I putting another apparition on here? If it was the right play last turn, it's probably the right play this turn, right?
Fall back.
Evening Legend. If you enjoyed the Hooglandia Opens, I'm pretty sure starting next month, we're going to start scaling up to doing 2 a month, so people who are subscribing primarily to play in those events will be getting better value for their subs. I think I want to play a 3-drop this turn. We'll confirm after tomorrow's stream, but I think the next open's going to be Historic the first weekend of October. Bump oops all spells in Historic. You definitely can. So I played the Murder out as a land tier because they have Selfless Savior protecting their stuff anyways, and I really want to be able to go 3/2 next turn. Just giving all of our stuff lifelink will be a big deal here. No, this is a different deck lighting. I just didn't add it at the very top of the queue because it was being played first. Another creature you control dies. That one kind of create 2/2 Night Token Vigilance. Alright, so got a jump block. So they get a thing. We get a thing. Okay, so we can start stacking our friends up here at least. And then, like, if we get to start activating Vito, we can maybe stabilize this board. So I'm going to put this to a 5/5, and I'm going to put this to a 4/4, because this is lifelink naturally. This being big enough to block these is good. This is extra multicolored. Really, we're swinging for the fences. Okay, so I'm going to do this, I think. I just went to try and go and mouse over an I instinctually just to see how the math was going to work out. Turns out there's no I in this application. So they're gonna sack this to save the lieutenant, I imagine. I'm currently taking 4, gaining 4, so I'm gonna stay at 6. For people that aren't familiar with Runeterra, the eye is a thing you can mouse over that tells you how combat's going to work out, which is great. Are they dead on the backswing? Pretty close to it because of Vito's activation. The eye lets you do combat math super quickly in a really pleasant way. Oh, that's a good draw. Is it a good draw? No, I don't actually have things in there. Well, shoot. Am I playing that as a blocker, or am I just gaining 8? Are they dead on the backswing? So they have 6 mana, so they can gain 6. They're at a virtual 19. I don't believe they're dead. This gets lifelink naturally if it just has 5 counters on it. So that means I can actually play this. And then I can spread the love out on some of these counters a little bit. So I can give this a counter and give this a counter. So that way we've got some extra blockers here. So I'm going to go ahead and just attack for 7 with this one. And leave everything else back. But opponent decided they didn't want to play anymore. Got it. I mean, it was probably quicker than the concede button, right? So like, this hand has spells in it, but like the spells don't really do much. Like, my deck's kind of aggressive. I don't really have a curve, so I think I'm gonna mulligan this. I guess I could Temple to try and scry. Like 3-ish spells. This isn't a spell till much later. Oh, mulligan. Yeah, this is good. This is good. I'll be a little greedy and bottom the Mauling here. Go this, and then hope to peel a 3rd land. Lifelinker on 1 into Aspirant on 2 seems really, really strong. Evening Wargy. Gets us right at the start. Start-ish. Ish is probably more correct. Alright, not the land I wanted for Christmas. We got one more draw on that. I'm gonna spread out my 1/1 counters, I think, here. Diversify my threats a bit, basically. Means a little bit less damage this turn, but I'm gonna go ahead and start stacking up on Archfiend rather than putting on here, because like they want to kill Aspirant anyways, because that adds power to the board every turn. So I'd rather make my weaker threat stronger, I think.
Solving mysteries is my
Scry me a river, baby. Three mana, scry 2, gain 5. It's not too terrible. Getting super punished for having kept Vito and Heliod and bottoming my mauling. Hey, AGH, thanks for keeping on with your gift sub. I appreciate it. What are the black sweepers left in this format at this time? At this point, it's the 5 mana ritualist that exiles. Is that it? Is actual factual ritualist still legal? Extinction event is legal. Yeah. Soot rotated. Okay, yeah. Soot rotated. The new 5 mana one and extinction event. Okay. No third land, no problem, chat. Easy peasy, lemon squeezy, just like we drew it up. There's a Pestilent Haze, who's minus 2, minus 2 to everything. How much mana does that cost? Definitely want Remorses. You want to trim Vito because it's kind of individually weak, and trim a Heliod for the same reason. Again, individually weak. Just bringing my discard spells. Bottom that one, actually. This isn't a Plains 4 castle. Yeah, Witch's Vengeance exists. That's, like, technically correct. I don't think... I agree with Landon that Witch's Vengeance isn't really a card that I'm expecting to see a ton of play, at least not yet. Could be a card the format develops into, but to start would be pretty surprising. Evening Clipsy. Yeah, the new schedule's felt good for me too so far. It's a little bit worse for Twitch viewer count because doing longer streams in one session is technically better for that, but also Twitch viewer count isn't the end all be all either. It's felt good having shorter segments at a crack. Evening, Mom. Would you like to kill my life's bounty? Would you like to kill my Daxos in response? Did I typo the command? Totally typo the command. I ended up getting a playset of rares. We did not, but we didn't get a playset of rares for good reason. Like, we failed to accumulate an entire playset of... We failed to accumulate an entire playset of rares because we opened a lot of mythics. So, like, it's like a glass half full reason. Fingers crossed our opponent's control deck can just never beat Castle Ardenvale. Pretty sure I'm just like not casting into this Essence Scatter, and I'm just like making a 1/1 every turn. These are going to gain them 4 life eventually, is the trouble. We got a bit of an uphill battle here. Evening bread. Two turns, you'd start making angels. That's an optimistic outlook. There's that Pestilence Haze that we talked about. I mean, there's a very real chance that my opponent's deck can't beat this castle. We'll see. I suppose if they have, like, Ashiok, we could be in trouble. See what actual threats they have. They need a way to actually close the game out. They can't just sit here with a bunch of counterspells and removal. Although these gaining them 8 life will definitely go a long way towards keeping them in it for a bit. I technically could have gained 1 in response to them killing the thing there, but gaining 1 in response is worse in the event they had a sweeper to, like, clean up my tokens. But maybe I'm okay with them burning a sweeper on that, so I should just go for the 1 point of life. Yeah, even a 3/3 here is pretty good. Shark Typhoon is super powerful. Evening, Sarnog. Thanks for the 16 months. Welcome back. And remember, regardless of your own personal situation, you've got that sword next to your name, so you'll always be in chat here. One of the reasons why I give mod swords. Probably dead here, huh? It's just going to be impossible to race. Try and take game 3 on the play. The aggro motto, chat. I'll take game 3 on the play. I was holding on to my 4-mana spell because my opponent had a 2-mana counter-trigger creature spell face up. So running into that didn't really serve any purpose. Hand's not stellar, but I think it's keepable. The question is, am I playing Mauling tapped on 1? I don't think I am. There's a good chance we draw more lands. I want to save that for later. Your mom's red sauce. Thank you for the sub gifties. Hope you're staying safe out there in this crazy world. Alright, do we fix the mistake I made last time and take Maze Mind Tomb? I think so. Jojo. What a year it's been. You are not wrong. Let's get you a sword to go with that shield. Think we just do this. Take their neutralize. They're missing second black for this for now. And if I hit second black, I can kill it with Mauling. So basically just have to start sequencing my threats out here to work through all of their removal. So just going to play them in order of least importance to most importance. Yeah, the new set seems very reasonable. Maybe I'm supposed to hold that because I left them with this. Carabim. That is a whole slew of sub-gifties. Good evening to you. The fact that they burned their Essence Scatter on that means that this can get that back after it happens. Yeah, and there's the punish right there. That's pretty unfortunate. Probably should have held on to this. Yeah, the worst Uro's, it's pretty absurd that your mom's red sauce not to be outdone. Good evening to you, too. Welcome to our newest members of Hoglandia. To all of our wonderful new subs, if you're looking for a tournament to play in tomorrow, gift subs are the same as Prime or any other Tier 1. You are welcome to come play in our Hoglandia tournament tomorrow. So I assume they're going to Heartless Act this one, which will let us get back the Hope's Demise. Really? They're just taking the hit. Interesting. Powering up Barons. Okay. I guess they want to Blood Chiefs. Maybe I should have put the counter on here to force their Heartless Act. Now they get to Blood Chiefs, a 2-drop, and then kill the Skyclave right away. The mistake that's probably going to lose me this game is the fact that I played this Mauling out as a land. I should have held it and banked on finding a another black source. This Nighthawk Scavenger is just impossible to race, and I should have prioritized holding a removal for it. That was definitely a turn. Yeah, we pushed this game. I can't even attack here now because of the Crawling Barons. It's just gonna chew away at us here too much. So I think if I hold the Mauling there, we get to clear the Nighthawk, and then we get to play a waiting game for a little while, and maybe the waiting game plays out in our favor, but without a way to kill the Nighthawk, our aggro deck's just dead in the water. Awakening is just very, very good in general. I think the Black Bolt land is definitely the best of them. Most of them are pretty reasonable, but the black one's definitely the best. It's possible this deck wants another Mauling in it. Go Speaker on 1 into tapped land, Speaker on 2 with the Awakening here. Well, that's a trade I wasn't expecting, but I'm super happy with. We definitely take those. Hopefully that's a sign of things to come, right? The blue one's actually, I think, the worst of the set. Hi, Beard Hug. Hi. What do you think are the top couple cards out of the new set? I think this is the best of the Bolt lands. If you haven't watched it, on Wednesday night, I did kind of a set summary / overview. It wasn't like a formal, I go over every card in the set, but it's like a 35 or 40 minute video where I like talked about every rare and mythic that I think might be interesting and why. I think full set reviews tend to get a little bit tedious. I can never make it through the end of one. Sitting there watching someone say this card sucks, it's a limited card over and over again gets real dry real quick in my opinion. I think we go Hope's Demise into Life's Bounty here. And then hopefully we draw another untapped land next turn and we can Lurrus replay this whilst holding up protection. Would be great. What do you feel about this? I think I like it. I think I like it. Would love to draw a card. Thank you for asking. Let's go Lurrus into Life's Bounty here. I guess if I Speaker of the Heavens, I get to cantrip again. Yeah, let's do that. Yeah, the standard Winota decks have been sweet. The standard Winota decks have really made me sad that Wizards banned the wrong card in Historic. Like, really wish that... Really wish they would have banned Angrass Marauders instead of Winota. I think Winota is kind of a sweet card, and like there's just one card that was extra offensive with her, and they should have just removed that card instead of getting rid of the sweet deck enabler. So I assume we're about to give things trample and haste here, huh? So this doesn't get lifelink until it has 5+ counters on it. So I'm just going to do that for now and then pass, I think. I think Kenra's playable in 4-color Omnath. Can you explain bits? The Omnath question, basically, if you have a slot to put it in, maybe. Yeah, it's a good ramp payoff, just individually good card. Bits are basically a way to donate to the stream directly, only instead of like when you donate with PayPal, the cut comes out on the streamer's end, whereas when you donate with bits, you pay the upcharge when you buy the bits. So like to buy $25 worth of bits, you spend more than $25 because Twitch takes their cut when you buy the bits. I have a lot of lifelink on board here, so we might be okay. Maybe. They have a lot of trample, though. Okay, so... let's block this here. Trade this here. Trade... oh, this protects from multicolor. That's rude. Trade these here. I'm currently taking 7, but I'm gaining 4, so I'm going to 11. I'm taking 7, gaining 4, so I'm at 10. I'm going to 3 here. We'll sacrifice this to give this pro white. Pretty sure I want to keep this alive. I'm taking 8. No, Kenrith isn't going to trample because this is going to get bigger. When life's bounty dies, I'm going to take 1 trample here. So I am taking 8, but because I'm taking trample from this. This is going to get bigger when... okay, I get to kill Kenrith here at least. So they're saving their Winota, but I get to kill Kenrith. So that seems like a win. Draw a card. Yeah, I think so. I'm about to lifelink for a bunch, right? Are they dead? They're dead, right? I play Vito and kill them? That's sick. Okay. Trigger. Alright. Alright. I'm picking up what's getting put down here. Well-born Muse. Watching on my phone, I have to say, who's excited for board states like this on mobile? Thank you for the very generous tier 3 sub. Let's get you a sword to go with that shield. Thanks for keeping me around. Vito with life gain seems pretty good. I think I want to board in these 8 cards. The question is, what do I want to cut? I am not expecting to expand into Runeterra opens anytime soon. What's it called? MTG Melee said their support for another platform was at least early next year out. I guess this is a human. Cutting a human when I'm boarding in dire tactics seems loose. Maybe Heliod's not a very individually powerful card. I guess I am bringing in more double white cards, though, which makes them a little bit easier to enable. Would I rather have a couple of Vessels or a couple of Heliods? I think I'd rather have a couple of Heliods. Let's try this. Hey, good evening, Dylan. Yeah, for the record, evening streams are going to be the new normal here on the channel. So for the last week and a half, I've been doing 7 p.m. to 10 p.m. every weeknight. That's going to continue moving forward. I'm gonna keep this. Run the draw with a scribe. It's like, it's got 3 lands in it. It needs a second white source for this, though. But, yeah, perfect. Okay. I mean, to set a low bar, I'm expecting Runeterra to have spectator mode long before Arena does. Yes, I'm doing split shift now, Dylan. I'm doing 3 hours, 3-ish hours in the morning, then 3-ish hours in the evening. So, my kids are both doing remote learning, and Christy's back to work full-time as well. She's working remotely, but she can't wrangle the full kids' day at school. So... Please brick. Please brick. Please brick. Please brick. Please brick. That's the opposite of brick. Probably dead. So I get to get rid of Winota here, but I think we're far enough behind on board that we're gonna have a tough sell getting back in here. Lotus Cobra is very, very good. Probably the best rare out of the new set. You have spirited my spirit. Let's get Linnea. I want to get Linnea. Thanks for the biddies, Mom. Appreciate that. They've got spirit. Yes, they do. We used to have spirit, and now they do. Resupplies, they downshifted Cobra, considering how much they like money. I think they just really wanted to fit it into the set, because even with Cobra being a downshift, I believe this set has more mythics than most sets do, right? If I recall. I think I heard someone throw the number 20% around, but I haven't double-checked that number, so maybe it's loose to repeat it. I don't know that Cobra is really bannable in a format without Uro. Like, obviously my opponent's start last game was good, but sometimes the aggro deck just runs you down. That's just how Magic works. I think this is just going to be one of those things where, like, if you're playing this format, you need cheap removal to kill this card consistently. We played a standard deck today that kind of Lotus Cobra chained Nahiri's Lithomancings with the Green Warden. The 4-color Omnath deck we played this morning was very reasonable. So, I think a big part of the problem with Magic the last year is that cards like Uro and Teferi, things that are actually erroneous, have really gotten people used to the... It makes people think that every card that's good should be banned. And I think that that's obviously not the case. I obviously don't feel that way. The only card that feels erroneous in this format at the moment, after my small amount of time playing it, is definitely Uro. Sure, 10-ton hammer. Anybody with a brain didn't expect anything less than that. Oh, did I forget to board in Priest? I think I forgot to board in Priest. It's a good call. Right, we hit the land. That's not terrible. I'm just exiling their Bone Crusher Giant here and hoping they brick off for a short bit. These two turn on Heliod, which is nice. You're able to sideboard now? Why wouldn't you be able to sideboard? Oh, you're right. We did hit a bug the other day where it didn't let us board. Yeah, that was a one-time thing. That was not the normal. So, super punished here for not playing Aspirant out. Hopefully, we draw an untapped land here so we can go Lurrus into Life's Bounty. It's our shot to get in this game. Alas, after mulliganing to 5, we will continue to brick. Maybe they won't have another piece of removal. If their hand is blanks... Alright. Best draw on the deck. Total blanks. Sometimes that's your only out, chat. Sometimes magic has happened and you stumbled and died a bunch and your only out involves them having blanks. Hey, Oblong. Thank you for the brand new... Thank you for keeping on with the tier 1 sub. Welcome back. I'm glad you turned around, Westlick. If it consoles you at all, I'm not exactly blameless myself. My 2016 presidential ballot was cast for Gary fucking Johnson. Donald Trump turned me into a foaming at the mouth, dirty liberal. What are we playing here? I feel like I probably want to be resource efficient. They're playing mono red though, so like putting one of these into play tapped is probably valuable this turn. Wow, that's brutal. That exiles it, so I can't get it back with Lurrus either now? Rough. Play Aspirant here in a tapped land and get this going, ticking up. I don't want to if I block, they could have another Spike Field Hazard paired with First Strike to kill this, so I'm not going to take that. I've talked about this on stream before, Logan, but I grew up in a fairly conservative family. Lot of both sides-isms. Obviously, I'm straight and white. You know, we weren't wealthy, but we were comfortable. Never had to worry about where a meal was coming from, if we were gonna have a roof over our head. Had a lot of privilege, and privilege generates indifference largely. Yes, the importing issues should be resolved on Stream Decker. They pushed a patch. I don't think again, they could just have a deal 2 here, so I don't think I really want to give up my lifelinker. I mean, 3-1 Temple of Malady splits, that's an arena thing, that's not a Stream Decker thing. There's that Bone Crusher Giant we've heard so much about. Alright, how do we want to sequence this turn? I could Lurrus, bring back Aspirant, put a counter on my Hierophant. I could Daxos into Hope's Demise. I think I'm Daxosing into Hope's Demise here. I'm just gonna get Lurrus going. Nah, I don't really have a educational resource for privilege causes indifference other than first-hand experience. Education can help fight it. A big part of what caused me to realize I should care and that things aren't all the same and that one side is actually different was the fact that I moved out of my parents' house when I was 17. I got a college education. I experienced lots of different ranges of people when I went to school. What are you doing, youngest son? I think we're blocking like this. Oh, we could get Embercleave here, right? If they have Embercleave, we're probably just dead. I don't think blocks save us from cleave. Is that true? They cleave here. I gain 4. They kill this. I take 3, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. I gain 13. If they cleave here, I live, right? I think. Did I math that right? Oh, this only gets back Clerics. I was expecting to get back my Lurrus with that block, but it only gets back Clerics. That's awkward. Alright, that's fine. When the consequences don't affect you, why worry about the problem is the mentality. Yeah, and I mean, like, there's also, too, like, a lot of my indifference growing up was born of ignorance, right? Like, I was told things by people who I was taught to trust growing up that were just objectively wrong. That were outright lies in some cases. And learning learning that the people that you were supposed to trust and you thought people you could lean on for information and to like guide you in the right direction really didn't care it's tough. It's a tough nut to swallow. Alright, that'll do big. Almost stabilized here. Not quite. Heliod, while a nice idea here, often not going to be active, so I don't think he's quite good enough. Dire Tactics seems super reasonable. Losing life on this doesn't feel good, but having pieces of spot removal seems important here. I'm gonna bring all of those in just to try and keep the board small. I think this is a little bit slow. The stat line on it isn't very good either. How's this one been so far? It's had some impressive games. It's felt cohesive. The game plan is trying to execute when we get to play Magic feels reasonable. So, I can't, because of the way these dual lands work, I can't play this on 1 and then play a tapped land and this on 2. So I think I'm actually supposed to play the tapped land on 1 so I can go double 1-drop on 2. Mauling sounds fine to keep. Yeah, I agree, Slim Wednesday. I mean, I've had tweets to this effect too. Like, there's a reason why Republicans have spent a significant part of my lifetime attacking the education system in America. Like, that's not an accident. The new flip duels are great. I actually posted on Twitter today. I think they might be my favorite dual lands they've ever printed. They're really, really well done. I'm gonna attack with Vessel here, because if they block it, I get to make a 5/5 next turn with Lurrus. I get to gain 2 with its life link and access trigger. The problem with political discussion in much of the United States is that the current Democratic Party casts a net wide enough that it includes conservatives at this point from progressives, because the GOP, what was previously the conservative party in the United States, has run so god-awful far to the right, it is flirting with and literally authoritarianism and fascism in many instances with decisions that they make. And when there's only two choices, that means everybody that's not in the far right has to all get under the same tent, basically. It's past line of flirting in most instances, I agree. We've been playing this one for about an hour, so another half hour or so. We go live about 7 o'clock. This is a little over an hour ago. Tarbrand's about to mess us up. Tarbrand with the Spike Field Hazard here means that they get to deal 3 to this. It's possible I should have waited to recast this so I could protect it with Life's Bounty here, but really wish we would have had an untapped land last turn instead of a spell. Really have great blocks here. I guess I'm blocking here. These'll trade. They'll kill Lurrus. Where were you last turn? Well, I guess that would have been tapped last turn. The person asking me, did I consider certain cards? I didn't consider anything. I copy and pasted a deck list a viewer sent me that we've been paid to play. I agree with the assessment, though, that Heliod's felt really mediocre. Definitely feel like I would like something that's individually powerful. Honestly, I kind of just want a couple more of the murder flip lands. And maybe something else that's a cheaper spell. Let's pull up all the Clerics real quick and just take a peekaboo. See if there's any gems in there we feel like we're missing. Might want to be... Honestly, I might just want to be more focused on the Cleric theme. Like, Heliod is the reason why we're playing Daxos. Daxos isn't a super individually... isn't a super, like... This encourages us to play other cards that are individually weak. So a big part of the divide, Slim Wenzy, is that, like, both the parties used to agree on a lot of things, they just didn't agree on how to accomplish them. Like, I would like to think that nobody should go bankrupt because they get sick isn't a controversial point of view. And, like, if you're a conservative versus if you're a progressive, how you accomplish nobody going bankrupt if they get sick might be different. But we should all be able to fundamentally agree that it is abhorrent that people in the United States go bankrupt because themselves or a family member gets sick. That's just something that shouldn't happen in a first world country. But we don't agree on those fundamental things anymore. There is an entire party of people that have dehumanized many people in our country because they think it is appropriate and fine that entire swaths of people go bankrupt if they get sick. And there's a lot of reasons why they feel that way now, but that's the truth. That's where we're at. It's definitely related to a lack of empathy. I agree with that. What does Storko do? Whenever an opponent attacks 2 or more creatures, a caster second spell each turn, draw a card. Seem very good. That's expensive and slow. Oh, this card's really good. I like this card. It's got lifelink too. play some of those. Let's lean on the Cleric theme a little bit more. I think I saw someone mention this one. This card seems okay too. Big fan of spell lands. We added a couple more with Hagra Mauling. Let's pivot off the Heliod sub-theme and work on this along with Lurrus. Honestly, I kind of wonder, is like playing Cleric of Life spawned? I don't know what that one does. Another Cleric in battlefield under your control, you gain a life. Whenever you gain life for the first time each turn, put a 1/1 counter on this. I guess that's okay. That is effectively a Johnny's Pride, mate. Yeah, that's another thing. I agree that tribalism is a big thing too. If you're someone that has family members that you think you want to try and get through to, don't talk about left versus right. Talk about specific issues. If you can humanize things and talk about how things actually impact real people, it's easier to get through to folks. A lot of the time. You like just ask people the question point blank, like, do you think people should go bankrupt if them or a family member gets sick? A lot of reasonable people say no, even if they're voting Republican for some reason. You ask people to point out specific policy points that Trump has that they like, a lot of them struggle and they can't do it, right? There's a reason why the RNC didn't put forth policy points this year, right? Because their policy is Donald Trump. I kind of want another Lurrus. Wait, here's a question. I can kick this when I cast it from the graveyard with Lurrus, right? Judge? That's how magic works, right? Okay. I got him into it. Well, that's the thing, Drathmar. So, like, you can respond to your uncle saying, well, I don't think I should go bankrupt because a drug user got sick. A lot of these people have completely misunderstood points of view, right? Like, for example, conservatives will rail against Joe Biden's tax plans, but Joe Biden's tax plans don't call for increasing taxes on anybody that makes under $400,000 per year. And guess what? If you make over $400,000 per year, you can definitely afford to pay more in taxes. So, like, this idea that, like, all of these things impact everyone and, like, that the person making 50 grand a year is the one that's going to pay for all of these things, that's just not based in reality. It's a lie. This looks fine. Mana's a little bit awkward, but got Aspirant on 2 here. Don't go after my millionaire's untaxed funds, you heathen, right? We're looking for another land here. I think I'm just Clerics of Life bonding here, and then next turn we could go Cleric. We could go Cleric into another 1-drop. That's also true too. There are many people who just it's just too much work to reach them. Like red-white control. Bonus deck looks sweet so far. We're just passing here. They're probably Shatter the Sky deck, I imagine, so holding back Lurrus to recover our board afterwards sounds good. So they're at a virtual 15. They're kind of at a virtual 19. They've got a lot of walls in play. It's a good thought. If we're putting them on Shatter, they probably would have blocked. I'll play out the Speaker of the Heavens so I can start making angels, but I'm gonna sit on the Lurrus for a bit. The Lurrus doesn't really attack into the walls very profitably anyways, so I'm gonna hang out on this one. So, part of the problem, Milla, is that police offices that are currently underfunded, if you told them they could stop doing a lot of the work that they do, they suddenly wouldn't be underfunded anymore, they'd be overfunded. So, like, nobody's saying you just take money away from the police department and then do nothing else. Like, the idea of defunding is changing the funding. The police should... A person with a firearm should not respond to any phone call that isn't something aggressive, that isn't somebody with a weapon. That just shouldn't be a thing. Most police calls in the United States do not need to be handled by a police officer. Yeah, you're changing, we want to change the scope of the work the police do and reallocate funds because they no longer need as many funds because the work they're doing is now different. It's more specific. Any people stand up for the standard open so far? I think we're at 40. 40 or so. We'll see. I think this is probably on track to be the smallest one, but I was also expecting it to be the smallest one because it's release weekend. As I mentioned, the one thing that matters more than anything is what the viewer count looks like tomorrow. We have 45 people currently. Well, if they're playing Omen of the Sun, I probably don't want to... Probably don't want to attack in with this anymore. Do I want to Lurrus replay Bounty? I don't think so. I feel like I could probably kill them with what I have on the board. Wouldn't it be release weekend? Make it be more expected that people can play? No, Magic Arena is incredibly expensive. Magic Arena is cheaper than paper Magic, but it's far from cheap. A lot of people who play Arena free to play it or spend very minimally, and it's very difficult to build a deck early. And even if you're spending a small amount of money, generally speaking, you want to be conservative with what you're building. A lot of people are going to wait for tournaments like the one we're having tomorrow to try and figure out what they actually want to craft because they have limited wild cards. Defund the police is a terrible slogan. Full stop, defund the police is a terrible slogan. What the intentions behind that slogan are fantastic. But the slogan itself is short to the point of being nondescript and unhelpful. It's very easy to twist quickly into something actively harmful. I assume most people playing in your sub tournament are whales. Nah, definitely not. Yeah, I also think, like, the messaging being bad, like, also isn't a big deal. Even if the messaging was better. Yeah, but for your $100, how much did you get, Chef Seth? Did you build 2 decks, 3 decks, 4 decks? What if the first deck you craft isn't good? There's a real risk. Real risk. Evening Mercenary. Yeah, there's also, I think, a lot of people that, like, and honestly, I'm in this room, like, I spent $300 getting cards for this set, and I'm not convinced that Standard's gonna be a format worth playing yet. Like, there's no guarantee that Standard's gonna be a format worth playing. So, like, I don't fault people for waiting to see. We have talked about our RGB. RBG. Acronyms, chat. Letters go in different orders. That's kind of what got our whole conversation started today. Is this card good, chat? I think this card might be good. This card seems great too, BT dubs. I'm gonna kick this and bring this card with Lurrus seems absurd, chat. This is probably historic playable. We get to do this, reanimate Lurrus, and then Lurrus brings back a friend. Like, that's like some crazy good value. And with this card too, like, I'm picking up what's being put down here for sure. Yeah, and for the record, you can cast Nullpriest out of your graveyard with Lurrus kicked. Because kicking it technically doesn't increase the converted mana cost, so it behaves differently than X spells do with Lurrus. Priest of Forgotten Gods is a cleric. That's kind of hot. Oh, Iliad unlocks Speaker. I forgot about that. That's great. I'm gonna attack with this first and see if they want to trade. Right. Protection makes enchantments fall off. Forgot about that. That's super brutal. Wait, what? Excuse me? Well, I was lamenting the fact that I didn't bring back an extra life bounty, but... I mean, I guess they just wanted to get an attack in here. Because they're trying to get to 35 for this. That's what I would assume. Whenever a creature you control deals combat damage to a player, you and that player each gain that much life. Wow, that jumped that up really fast. Do they kill me next turn? Are we dead? Yeah, lifelink on Archon plus Angel Destiny gains a lot of life very quickly. I think I might actually die to this trigger. Yeah, because this doesn't even have to hit me, it just has to attack me, right? Alright, so I need to hit them with this. I could also give this pro-white to stop them from gaining life that way. Yeah, wow, we're actually just dead, huh? So, it's worth noting here that I messed this game up. The turn I brought back... Of course, there's not an animation. The turn I brought back Luminarch Aspirant... The turn I brought back Luminarch Aspirant, I could have brought back a second Life's Bounty, and if I would have done that, my opponent wouldn't have been able to get in hits, and we would have very easily won that, I think. This seems really bad, because they're exiling most of my stuff instead of killing it. Dire Tactics seems... I guess Dire Tactics doesn't seem that good. Conclave, Skyclave Aspirant seems fine. Mauling seems good. This is 8 ways to kill their stuff. Yeah, so ultimately I threw that game in the garbage can from not prioritizing getting the extra bounties out. We died to their alt win con. Not that you would know that they had an alt win con, because their mythic rare that had an alt win con didn't have the animation when it happened. The average common and uncommon in Runeterra has a better animation than mythic rares that win the game do in Arena. It's really depressing. So, boarding in a card like Skyclave most games doesn't necessarily mean that it's a card you want in your main deck. Something that's very common with decks like what we're playing, decks that are looking to be linear, is that post-board, your linear deck will slow down and become more interactive. So the fact that you're like almost always boarding in removal is like understandable. Just gonna play all these out. Nope, they don't have a sweeper. If they do have a sweeper, we have Lurrus plus Vessels to maybe stay in it, but it sets Menace so it attacks through the wall at least. I'm gonna start activating Speaker next turn, which is great. Just like turn 4 activate Speaker is pretty good. There's really no reason to play this out, I don't think. I guess I could have a piece of spot removal I could want to protect from. Yeah, they're more likely to have Shatter. At least we'll draw a card from it. Hopefully spike an untapped land and go Lurrus, replay Archfiend's Vessel. Just like we drew it up, chat. Just like we drew it up. Yeah, backup Lurrus is also great in case they have another Shatter. Hold on. Hold on, folks. I'm gonna do it again. Yeah, watch the auto tapper with Lurrus. It only considers cards in your hand. Take it back now, y'all. Runed Halo. Sure. That's true. They can't name Demon. This is not a card. So I think we just Speaker into Life's Bounty to protect our Lurrus. We'll start pumping out 4/4s. You actually can't name Demon. It's not a legal play. You have to name a magic card. I should technically wait to play this till after combat, because they give me a reason to use this inside of combat. I would like to replay it. I'm going to hold on to this for now. If we draw another untapped land, I'd like to have this as a removal spell. 5th land's not super useful in the short term. Alright, so our board's going to die here. Get to draw a card at least. Happy murders to you. Do-do, do-do, do-do. Spread out our power here a little bit. 1 point short of lethal next turn. Yeah, Aspirant's been really impressive. Big agree. I think I'm supposed to play that. I think I'm supposed to save that as post third sweeper follow-up. I guess I have lethal next turn if I play that, right? Do I? So I have they're at 10. I have 6. That'll be 7, 8, 9. So if I play this, they're dead on board. Blue-black rogues that we're going to play next felt really good yesterday. This deck felt pretty reasonable too. Interested to see what Rogues feels like on its run back. And then this is stellar because they... Oh, did I miss lethal? I missed lethal. I could have gone Aspirant, get my Lurrus, get back this, kill their Faith Fetters. That's fine though. It's not a big deal. Can you have just exiled the Orah? Nah, my play was much bigger brain than yours and thus strictly better. All of you small brain Twitch chatters wanting to just exile their enchantment instead of getting value with my Lurrus. Come on now. I'd actually rather have this, right? Because if this gets swept away with a bunch of other clerics, we get to draw cards. Seems better. Gotta lift weights with my deck to prepare my brain. Careful now. Hand needs a second white source, but definitely a bunch of keepable spells. That is a phenomenal draw. This card seems great so far. Much better than Daxos was. Boo! Boo this prince. Silly 2/2s blocking my 1/1s. That attack is loose. Hey, that's nice. It's very nice. I guess dealing damage to me makes sense. They're technically trading a point for each of us, but putting my life total down means I'm further away from activating Speaker of Heavens. I rescind my criticism of their attack. Seems very reasonable on the surface. No blocks. I'll draw a card when you shatter this guy. Archon of Sun's Grace. Huh. Feel like if they had a sweeper, they might have swept here already. Could be a wrong read though. Anybody who's been paying attention, do that, Tim Star. Evening guard yourself. As a heads up, late night streams are the new normal here. Lots of things are changing in the post-plague time, and one of them is a split schedule here in Hoaglandia. So for the last week now, I've been doing 7 p.m. to 10 p.m. on weeknights. As always, you can find my schedule up on my YouTube channel, my website, my Twitter, lots of different places. Hopes Demise plus Hierophant together does a pretty good job of insulating us from sweepers too, huh? Am I putting this into play as a land? I don't think so. Evening Ken. Evening, Jilthans01. Thanks for the brand new Prime support. I really appreciate that. Wouldn't be here without the support of folks like you, so thanks for keeping me around. So, this is not an activated ability, it's a triggered ability, so this can't block, but it will still bring other things back, which is great. Yeah, that's exactly right, Bits. I'm gonna continue sitting on this. Won't you take me to Value Town? Won't you take me to Value Town? Bum 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 bum. Bum 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 bum. Bum 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 bum. Bum 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 bum. How many times do I have to teach you this lesson, old man? Yeah, it's no joke. Shatter actually makes our board better right now. It's kind of funny. TurboTax hopes demise. I am Ken. Did I miss it? Probably did. Get them a sword to go with their shield. Oh, my Twitch chat's lagging is what's going on. I really should look at Firefox again at some point. Chrome's been a giant pile of garbage since I changed to Windows. Just constant slideshow. I boarded Vito out, unfortunately, which I think was correct when I did it, but definitely doesn't feel good on this board. I mean, it's not strictly Chrome's fault. Like, the issue with Chrome isn't that it's a memory hog. I have 32 gigs of RAM, most of which isn't being used right now. The problem is that when it starts using the memory, it starts getting slow. So, like, my computer's resources are there to be used. I just want my application to not flipping hard lock while I'm trying to type into Twitch chat. Vex Illology. Thank you for the entire year of support. I appreciate that. Welcome back. We will be returning to daily Runeterra stuff on Sunday. Going to do a mix of Magic and Runeterra for the foreseeable future. Really surprised they didn't maze the one. I guess they can chump block this, but they didn't maze the one with lifelink. Getting to gain 5 here extra is good. Yeah, give Edge a few years. I'm sure it'll bloat out. Brave is literally just chromium, right? It's been a long set. 15 minutes left. It's a combo with Labyrinth. It is. Yeah, it is. My office's virtual machines have Internet Explorer linked to Chrome because people wouldn't stop using it. Yep, sounds about right. Oh, when I cast my second spell, they draw a card too. That's rude. Okay, so I think I'm just like hanging out till we kill them in the air, right? Only have to hang out for 1 turn. I can't believe they hit the sweeper, chat. How am I ever going to recover from this? The game is basically over. I'm pretty confident our board is better after the sweeper because they killed their enchantment cards over here, which is like super funny. That was stellar. And like, if they find another sweeper, I'm sitting on Agedem's Awakening here, right? Man, I really hope they like wake up and ban Uro. Cause like, the games that don't involve Uro in this format are like Gasoline. But there's so many games that involve Uro currently. Your move, Yugi boy. Oh no, not my game board. We can't cast Awakening? Why? This is pretty unlucky. Gotta discard to hand size. I could do this all day. Any other questions? Hey chat, they swept our board 4 turns in a row. It's kind of sweet. Opponent is trying to clean a desert with a leaf blower. Easy deck of the day, contender. The server couldn't handle all that awesome, chat. I think where we ended up at. The Daxos what's it called package didn't feel very good. What we ended up with here felt pretty aggressive and nice. Lurrus is excellent. Honestly, after seeing how those matches played out against the sweeper, Q Extinction Event. That's true. Extinction Event's brutal. I might want some more Skyclave Hierophants, maybe not. But yeah, I think this card was definitely a good addition. This is a threat that grows up. Any of our 12 1-drops pair really well into this on curve, so I'm kind of happy where we ended up at. Got some decent spot removal, some good interaction, a lot of reasonable things going on here. You have Dire Tactics and Skyclave Apparition to deal with Orah, which seems excellent, so maybe there's something here. Tube Hunter, thank you for the brand new tier 1 sub, I appreciate that. Alright, at any rate, we're going to do one more deck before I call it a night. We're going to play some blue-black rogues up next, a little bit more of this. I'm going to quick ad roll while I get things flipped over and get the client restarted. We'll be back in just a minute. Thanks for hanging out today, folks. Don't go anywhere.